Hey guys, my name's Mr. Dunstan, and today we are going to be reading Horton Hatches the Egg by Dr. Seuss. Now, we're going to be modeling this as though we would be reading this to the students that we would be reading to. The way that we are going to be applying this particular lesson is for first graders, first and second graders. Both are fine for this particular one. Yes, that's my child screaming in the background, but don't have a choice in that matter, but that's all right. Horton hatches the egg. Now, what I usually like to ask on the cover page are a couple of quick questions to show that the children are actually paying attention to what we are reading, as well as some key components like what is the title, what is the author, what is the illustrator. So, for example, I would say, who is the author of this book? It would be Dr. Seuss, of course. Now, then I would ask, so I see what type of animal? That would be an elephant. But what looks different about the elephant? Does that look correct? An elephant sitting in a bird's nest? Do elephants do that? No, they don't. So as we go through, we're going to go ahead and go back up to the title page. I'll ask, what is the title of this book? It is Horton Hatches the Egg. Who is the author? That would be Dr. Seuss. Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired and I'm bored, and I've kinks in my leg from just sitting here day after day. It's work. How I hate it. I'd much rather play. I'd take a vacation, fly off for a rest if I could find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I'd fly away free. So what type of animal is that sitting on an egg in a nest? That would be a bird. Does the bird seem very happy there? What's their problem? Well, they seem tired and they seem bored of just sitting on that egg all day. I think they might leave eventually. Then Horton the elephant passed by her tree. Hello, called the lazy bird, smiling her best. You've nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest? Do elephants sit on eggs? No, that doesn't make sense. The elephant laughed. Why, of all silly things, I haven't feathers and I haven't wings. Me on your egg? Why, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is so small, ma'am, and I'm so immense. What does immense mean? Really big. Elephants are really big. Tut, tut, answered Maisie. I know you're not small, but I'm sure you can do it. No trouble at all. Just sit on it softly. You're gentle and kind. Come be a good fellow. I know you won't mind. I can't, said the elephant. Please, begged the bird. I won't be gone long, sir. I give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed. Do you think the bird's going to come back or not? They may or may not. Who knows? Very well, said the elephant. Since you insist, you want a vacation, go fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg and I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful, I mean what I say. Toodaloo, sang Maisie, and fluttered away. So, tell me a couple of different rhymes that we hear on this page. I hear take and break. I hear try and fly. I hear say and away. A lot of different rhymes. There's my baby again. The first thing to do, murmured Horton. Let's see. The first thing to do is prop up this tree and make it much stronger. This has to be done before I get on it. I must weigh a ton. So then I could ask the students, why is he propping up the tree? Why is it important to make the tree stronger? They might say something to the vicinity of, oh, he's too big to sit on that tree. And that makes sense. That's a good answer. Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. Now that's that. And he sat and he sat and he sat and he sat. Seems very determined. And he sat all day and he kept the egg warm, and he sat all that night through a terrible storm. It poured and it lightened, it thundered, it rumbled. This isn't much fun, the poor elephant grumbled. I wish she'd come back, 'cause I'm cold and I'm wet. I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget. So, what's happening to Horton? What's going on right now? There's a terrible storm, that's right, and he's cold and wet. Hopefully the bird will come back, but oh, there's Maisie sitting on a nice beach. Does it seem like she's in a rush? No, doesn't seem so. But Maisie by this time was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach. Oh, we live near Palm Beach now, don't we? And having such fun, such a wonderful rest, decided she'd never go back to her nest. Now, is that a good thing for a mommy bird to do, to leave her baby bird behind? That doesn't make sense. But it happens. So Horton kept sitting there day after day, and soon it was autumn. The leaves blew away. And then came winter, the snow and the sleet, and icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. But Horton kept sitting and said with a sneeze, I'll stay on this egg and won't let it freeze. I meant what I said and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. What season does it seem to be? It seems very cold outside. When would that be? Winter, that's right, it would be winter. So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through, and then came the springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered round and they shouted with glee, Look, Horton the elephant's up in a tree. That's my baby in the back. They taunted, they teased him, they yelled how absurd. Old Horton the elephant thinks he's a bird. Is it nice to make fun of people even if we don't understand what they're doing? No, we shouldn't make fun of other people, even if they look silly. We keep that to ourselves. They laughed, and then they all ran away, and Horton was lonely. He wanted to play, but he sat on the egg and continued to say, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. So what are some rhymes that we heard on this page? That would be away and play and say. We had meant and percent. No matter what happens, that egg must be tended, but poor Horton's troubles were far, far from ended. For while Horton sat there so faithful, so kind, these hunters came sneaking up softly behind. What do hunters do? What is a hunter? A hunter hunts animals. That's right, they kill animals, whether it be for food or for sport. That's what they do. He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. The 3 rifles were aiming right straight at his heart. Oh my goodness, how many rifles were pointed at him? 3. 3 rifles. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high and he threw out his chest. And he looked at the hunters as much as to say, shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. But the men didn't shoot. Much to Horton's surprise, they dropped their 3 guns and they stared with wide eyes. Look, they all shouted. Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree? It's strange, it's amazing, it's wonderful, new. Don't shoot him, we'll catch him. That's what we'll do. Let's take him alive. Why, he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home to a circus for money. Oh no, what happened to Horton? That's right, he got put in a cage. He got captured. I think he's going to get sold to a circus. And the first thing he knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front for the pullers to drag on. They dug up his tree, and they put it aside with Horton so sad they practically cried. "We're off," the men shouted, and off they all went with Horton unhappy 100%. Oh my, they seem to be going over something rather big. What is that they're going over? A hill! That's right, they're traveling over a hill. Very good. Could be a mountain. Up out of the jungle, up into the sky, up over the mountains, 10,000 feet high. Then down the mountains and down to the sea went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Oh, it seems that they're traveling really far away. Where are they now? That's right, they're in the ocean, they're on the sea. They're traveling across the sea. Then out of the wagon and onto the ship, out over the ocean, and oh, what a trip! Rolling and tossing and splashed with the spray, and Horton said day after day after day, "I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. But oh, am I seasick, 100%. Uh-oh, now he's off the boat. And it seems that somebody's trading something for him. What is that stuff that's being handed off for Horton? That's money. He's being bought. What does it mean when we sell something? That's right, we sell something when we trade something for money. That's right. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in the town of New York. "All ashore," the men shouted, and down with a lurch went Horton the elephant, still on his perch, tied onto a board that could just scarcely hold him. Bump! Horton landed, and then the men sold him. They sold him to a circus. Sold to a circus, then week after week they showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kalamazoo, Chicago, Weehawken, and Washington, too. To Dayton, Ohio, St. Paul, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, to Drake, North Dakota. And everywhere thousands of folks flocked to see and laugh at the elephant up in the tree. Poor Horton grew sadder the farther he went, but he said as he sat in the hot, noisy tent, "I meant what I said, and I said what I meant." An elephant's faithful. 100%. Does he look very happy? Does that elephant look happy? No, he doesn't. Then one day, the circus show happened to reach a town down south, not so far from Palm Beach, and dawdling along the way, up high in the sky, who of all people should chance to fly by but that old good-for-nothing bird, Runaway Maisie, still on vacation, still just as lazy. And spying the flags and the tents just below, she sang out, "What fun! Why, all go to the show." So, what does lazy mean when someone's lazy? Yeah, that means they don't do what they need to do. They save it all for the end, and then they don't do it. It's not a good thing to be lazy. And she swooped from the clouds through an open tent door. "Good gracious," gasped Maisie, "I've seen you before." Poor Horton looked up with his face white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there rang out the noisiest ear-splitting squeaks from the egg that he'd sat on for 51 weeks. A thumping, a bumping, a wild live scratching. "My egg!" shouted Horton. "My egg, why it's hatching." So a couple of rhymes we see here are squeaks and weeks, and thumping and bumping, and scratching and hatching. How long did Horton sit on this egg? He sat there for 51 weeks. Keep in mind, a year's 52 weeks, so that's a little less than a year. "But it's mine!" screamed the bird when she heard the egg crack. The work was all done, now she wanted it back. "It's my egg," she sputtered. You stole it from me. Get off of my nest and get out of my tree. Poor Horton backed down with a sad, heavy heart. Why was it wrong for Maisie to do that? What did Maisie the bird do wrong?